Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our analyst briefing, benchmarking world-class financial services companies. My name is Scott Stolwerk here at Automated Insights, and this is the first in a series of analyst briefings that we'll be doing for different industries and their adoption of world-class technologies. The purpose of today is to benchmark everyday normal companies against what we've identified as world-class as far as addressing current challenges that we've identified in our research, world-class as far as these processes and industry benchmarks that have arisen. And we would like you during this webinar to picture yourself and your current situations and give you the opportunity to compare and contrast what you're doing against these world-class performers, and for those companies that are interested in improving the opportunity to see these best practices. Basically, we've compiled research from the companies listed here. Some of the names you'll know, others lesser known, but literally thousands of companies surveyed under these names listed. And so diving into the research, there is literally a data explosion, not just in the United States, but worldwide. And you can see all the statistics listed here. Basically, the amount of data that American companies are dealing with, reporting off of, gathering, analyzing, is doubling every 2 years. You can see the spend rate is increasing exponentially. You can see just the raw number of gigabytes, literally a tenfold increase by 2020. I think the most important statistic that we uncovered is the one on the right, that under 5% of all of this data is actually analyzed. So of useful data, 95% of it is going unanalyzed. Continuing on the theme, you can see that according to Forrester, the reliance on dashboards in corporate America is far too great. And I think the reason they make that assertion is that business executives, according to Gartner, fail to achieve the insights that they're looking for from BI implementations. And I think their survey was pretty complete. What was interesting to me to couple with that was that there's a growing shortage of data scientists and analysts with the analytical skills needed to actually use the data that companies are collecting. And you can see, I believe it's IDC here in the middle, that quotes 190,000 people with analytical skills at the data scientist level and 1.5 million managers that are missing the know-how in corporate USA to analyze these big data initiatives. And my personal favorite on the bottom, that at least 50% of dashboards should be in English. All right, so you can see that one of the components here in the operational challenges is the cost. Salaries, average salaries for data scientists, you can see range from about $100,000 with 0 to 3 years experience all the way up to about $230,000 for somebody with deep analytical skills and experience analyzing big data. So you couple that with the data explosion and with the other challenges, and you get to the summary here of the business challenges and the impacts associated with our analysis. Now, I want to give you the opportunity here for a minute to read through these. I'd focus you on number 3, 4, and 5 because literally they could both be quotes directly out of Forrester and Gartner research that we compiled. But more importantly, I want to give you the opportunity either through the chat function or through email, and I'll post my email address later, to tell me, A, which ones here in the business challenges are most prevalent maybe in your environment, and then B, is there a sixth one? Is there something that maybe we missed in our compiling of the research here. But basically, to go over this briefly, there's a huge operational disconnect when it comes to the world of the analyst in financial services. Just that the amount of work with the data that needs to be analyzed is piling up. Yeah, the analysts, especially the senior ones, tend to make a tremendous amount of money, and the cost to corporate America is significant. But the fact is, there aren't enough of you. And basically that shortage of 200,000 or more analysts in corporate America is weighing very heavily on the ones that are currently employed in financial services. In fact, I've looked up on some of the job boards for those that registered and are attending this analyst briefing. Most, if not all of your companies represented have job postings for data scientists and financial analysts. And there just aren't the qualified people out there. So the folks that are doing the job are tasked with more and more every year, and that shortage is having some impacts on corporate America as a whole, certainly in financial services. And what we've seen in financial services is that the impact of missed submetrics, of just misunderstood trends, or just data that's gone unanalyzed, that impact can be in the millions. Okay, so we actually surveyed scores of companies here, and we compiled some research that was already done on the top concerns of the C-suite in financial services. And quite frankly, profitability and growth, look, they were the biggest concerns, and most often in financial services, it's the regulatory environment and it's macroeconomics that affect those two the most. What we found kind of in the middle of the pack with competition and distributors was a very common theme. And it does relate to number one and number two above, and that's customer-facing technology. And we noticed a lot of these world-class best practices companies that we came across, they're considering and or adopting customer-facing analysis, analytics, and reporting solutions where they're interacting more with their customers. There's a greater engagement with the customer via artificial intelligence or some other smart analytics. So now we get to just summarizing some of the trends that we've seen. And most of it has to do with analytical performance. So if you look at the last few bullets, again, we've addressed these challenges. It kind of just summarizes it here. I'll give you a minute or two to read it. But basically, these world-class companies, they're leveraging technology, either existing or disruptive, to give them better information, to give them greater insights into the trends and the metrics in their data. And most companies have these now. But then even further, there's a trend towards leveraging artificial intelligence to speak in plain language to either a customer, a frontline broker, or even a manager. And the point is that the tableaus, the clicks, even the analytical software that you use to find these data relationships in smart analytics, they don't translate well to the data citizen. The data scientist, you folks, you analysts, charts and graphs galore, you read into them, you find trends and averages, and it speaks to you. But to the average sales professional in the financial industry, certainly to the investor, that actionable intelligence in plain language communicates better, increases engagement. All right. And now to summarize, based on an individual use case in one of the larger financial institutions that we were able to have access to, actually adopted a system where artificial intelligence was used to survey some identified metrics, KPIs if you will, within their data set. And it was very targeted towards the private investor. And the end result was a portfolio review where the individual investor was engaged as if a financial analyst was sitting next to them. You have investment A, B, and C. A is up, B is flat, C is down. You're missing certain products, and those products may be offered by the corporate sponsor, or they may not be. And you might want to add X, Y, and Z based on your investment goals, based on your compliance profile. And then what's further, and we find this definitely increased engagement, is that the individual investor is compared to their peers. There's cohort analysis involved in the system that shows them you rank at the 8th percentile or the 92nd percentile of investors your age retirement goal. And so moving on, you'll see companies like that have definitely increased the size of the gap between world-class and the benchmark companies. I can let you read the bullets, but very basically you can see the data analysts are stressed. All right, there are processes that the analysts can leverage. It doesn't replace their jobs. The analysts can leverage existing technology to offload some of these manual processes and quite frankly affect data citizens that you just wouldn't have the time or the ability to normally affect. And so we've seen those results: increase profits, reduce costs, and eliminating those manual processes that we just reviewed. So basically, what we'd like to offer at Automated Insights is a value assessment, a business value assessment for you and your company. We can come see you. You can invite us to your offices. We can do it via a call like this one. And it's 60 to 90 minutes where we're going to benchmark you even more specifically against these other world-class companies. Maybe you have a lot of these processes in place. Certainly the natural language piece is disruptive and it's cutting edge, and we'd love to talk to you about how it might fit into some of the existing processes that you're using to overcome that data beast and the data explosion we talked about. Again, my name is Scott Stolwerk. This is the first in a series of analyst briefings that we'll be compiling and delivering over the next several months. You can reach me at scott.s@Automated Insights with any questions or input, and we'll be sending out this deck and the recording for you to watch at your leisure. Thank you so much for attending, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.